Hello there. Let's adjust my camera a little bit. Oh, mamacita. How you guys doing? I am exhausted. I have my blanket. I actually had this set up in our original room that we started Witchy Book Club in. And I have my big comfy chair. Um, Hi Antonio, how are you this morning? I clearly am groggy. um, I made myself some coffee. And good morning, Miranda. How are you? Great live stream yesterday. Thank you, Miranda. I had so much fun. I'm so grateful that you were there too. Thanks. Asha, hi Asha. How are you? Alexis Bailey, hi. Um, Madison, hi Madison. Oh my gosh, my coffee is so hot. This is gonna be a slow one unless I can pump myself up. Um, and hi Crow Girl 17. So if you guys don't know, I live streamed last night at 9:30. Rebel Child Tarot finally made it to Witchy Book Club. I'm so glad that you're here and I love you. Um, I was a part of a super badass thing yesterday. It's called the 24-hour Tarot-thon. Hi Christine. And it was 24 hours of straight nonstop streaming, channel for channel for channel. So every 90 minutes there was a different channel. There was 16 of us. This was hosted by Simon at Hermit's Cave. And my live stream segment was at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's the time zone I'm in. So last night at 9:30 p.m. I live streamed for an hour and a half. It is up on my channel if you want to watch it. And I talked movies through the majors. So we talked about the 22 major arcana cards in the tarot system. And hi Donna, hi Sheldine, Fine Art Drawing Tutorials. What a name. Hi Marcia. Um, and I had so much fun. I was really pumped up. I was like, I'm really looking forward to the next Tarot-thon. So much fun. I hope it will happen again sometime soon. Yeah, so do I. I had such a freaking blast. Katie Flowers is here, everybody. Hi, Katie. How are you this morning? Not morning for you. I'm trying to think. It's probably like the evening for you, right? I am groggy though, and I don't feel like the camera angle is great right now, but you know what? Actually, we're just gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it. Good morning, Grun. How are you? You guys, I can't believe you're here. I was like, no one's gonna show up because they were all with me last night and all through these wonderful live streams. No, I'm on in bed, but I saw you were on, so I had to say hi. Hi, Katie. I do want to, just so you know, Katie. I do. So let's talk this week. You know what I'm talking about. I do. I just have had a lot going on. Hi, Angie. Good morning. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, love. That's okay. I just love seeing your name in here. I totally got the book too. I have to watch the replay tomorrow. Awesome. So yeah, let me talk about what we're doing. But I'm dragging because last night's live stream was so charged up. I was so much energy. It was like so high vibe for me. It was like I felt like I was partying basically. I'm such a nerd. I was partying on the internet with my friends at 9:30 on a Sunday night. Woohoo! What a what a rebel. Um, but I was so charged up afterwards that I couldn't go to bed. So I didn't get to bed till after like 2. Um, and I woke up and I still wanted to like kind of review what we were going over. I'm just groggy. I'm groggy, you guys. But I'm so grateful that you're here still after all of the live stream and it's already taking place. Hi Heather, morning. I'm dragging today, but I got coffee, so it's okay. Yeah, that's me too. Hi Danielle. I have this on Kindle, such a resource. Angie, girl, I'm still home. I'm late to work. Somebody else I know is late to work right now, but we won't name names. Which may or may not be why I'm live streaming in the bedroom. Hi Imogen, good morning, but not to you. It's like, let me think. Good afternoon, Imogen. How you guys doing? I can't sip my coffee and I'm upset about it. I just want it so bad. It's betrayed me. Oh my god, it's so hot. Uh, so can we just like snuggle in bed and do this live stream? Okay. This is the book that we're going over, and I actually am really, really pumped about it. It's The Witch's Shield by Christopher Penzcak. Um, I don't know if I've actually ever heard somebody pronounce his last name, so maybe I hope I'm saying it right. I know he's written a ton of books. I have never read any of his books before, so this is my first, and I'm hearing from you guys. Girl, lay in bed is cool. Wouldn't that be hilarious if I live streamed with like you on the side and I'm just like laying there talking to you about the book? Like it's some weird sleepover. That'd probably be inappropriate. Um, Anyways, The Witch's Shield is our book for this next 4 weeks of Witchy Book Club. So we're going to be breaking it down 2 chapters at a time, and this live stream we're going to be going over the first 2 chapters plus the introduction. Now, for those of you who kind of follow me a lot or may kind of join these in a lot, you might have heard me say that I was a part of a friend's birth, friend's labor. So my beautiful friend had a baby girl. She went in for induction on this past Wednesday. And long story short, I was in the hospital with her for 3 days. So they tried everything to get this baby out. It was very long and exhausting, and just like, oh, it was so hard not to get defeated for myself, for her husband, for her sister and her best friend that were there. Like, she had so much support, and her nurses were wonderful. Her midwife was awesome. She had 2 midwives because she was there for so long, and there was different shit. It was just a lot. It was my first time being kind of like what was known as like a spiritual doula, and it was much different than I thought it was going to be. But also, her situation was very, very unique. She went in the mindset of wanting to have a completely natural, no medicated, like vaginal birth. And every single thing that she didn't want to do, she ended up having to do. But that's how life works, especially if you're trying to have a baby under Mercury retrograde, 6 planets retrograde, 2 eclipses, and a full moon happening. Like, it was like a lot of energy in that hospital and around her and that baby. But Wednesday, she went in for induction, and I went there and I stayed there all night. Went home a little bit on Thursday, came back Thursday evening or something, or I don't even know. Basically, by like I think it was like 11 on Friday, 11 p.m. on Friday, she still was only dilated to 6 centimeters after starting the induction on Wednesday. And she had already had her epidural and given in and all that stuff, and she was just exhausted and just couldn't anymore. So she ended up doing a C-section, and the baby was born at 12:07 a.m. on what would be Saturday, I think. I'm so tired. Yeah, Saturday. And I didn't get home till like 4 in the morning on Saturday because once she went in for C-section, the baby was born. I wanted to give them time to rest and have their family go in before I went in to see the baby. The baby ended up being 10 pounds and 9 ounces. So there was a big baby in there, you guys. There was a big ass baby. She's beautiful. She's totally healthy. Her name is Aylin James. She's just perfect, and I love her so much. But that mama really worked and struggled a lot. And so for the past, like, that was my life this past week. Didn't get home till after 4:30 in the morning. Slept all day. Had certain things to do. And then by Sunday night, so I'm just like dragging on this weird train this whole week. I know that a lot of you were asking and were really excited to hear about how that went for me. So I kind of wanted to give you guys, no, it has nothing to do with Witchy Book Club, but I was getting a lot of DMs or questions about like, is that baby here yet? So, but I also wanted to keep it pretty private, and it's not my place to really post a lot of things. I posted like one on my story of like the baby holding onto my finger because it's not my place, even though they are posting pictures. I just wanted to be respectful and stuff, but just so you guys know, yeah, the baby came. It was a really long process, and she did amazing. The full moon finally did it, huh? Made her have the baby. Yeah, it was just a lot. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? I'm going back to look at your guys' comments. Danielle said, that's how all my babies were. Tried to do everything natural. All ended up with 3 C-sections. Almost pushed out the second one, but he wouldn't come down. Oh, it's gotta be so freaking frustrating. I can't even imagine. Damn, I thought my last one was big at 9'3". It is! 9'3" is a big baby. 10'9" is like, I was holding the baby. I was like, this feels like a 1-month-old baby. Like, this is still not, Jennifer, I'm still not up from last night. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm still not up from last night as well. I'm like cuddled into bed with my blanket and my coffee, struggling. It's not that dramatic. I just do feel pretty tired. Yeah, so anyways, that's the recap on that. That's kind of, oh, there's a fuzzy. Hope I did. Wow. Let's get into the book. Shall we? Here's the thing. I read all of it. I really like it. I think this is going to be a great book for us to transition into. There's some similarities, but total contrast between Earth Magic by Stephen D. Farmer, which was our previous book, and this one, The Witch's Shield. And not because, I guess it just covers like blanket kind of the same sorts of topics, even though this one is definitely, kind of centered around shielding yourself and energetic protection. But there's still this kind of overlying theme that we're still in the same sort of mindset, just maybe in a different wording or a different writing style that's a little bit easier for me to take. And there's some really interesting things that I want to go over with you guys. So if you have the book, wonderful. If you don't, you can still join in with us. Just for anybody who is here, if you guys did, if you weren't interested in having Earth Magic and you didn't purchase it and you still want it, you still want to read it, and you still want it for your collection, DM me on Instagram. The first person that does that, I'll ship it to you for free if you're in the States. If you're not in the States, I'm going to ask you help me to cover the shipping charges. But if you were wanting it, or, and you didn't want to spend the money on it, you just wanted to join in, and then after the live streams you realized, I kind of want that book now. Even though I said the writing style wasn't my favorite, there was a lot of people who really did enjoy it. So I don't want to keep holding on to these books that I know I'm not going to read again. So if you guys want my copy of the Earth Magic book that we went over last time, just DM me on Instagram, and or put down in the comments if you want, and I'll get a hold of you so that I can pass it on, because I don't need any more stuff. So I did want you guys to read the introduction. And I will say that I read the introduction and chapters 1 when I was in the hospital. So there's things, I wrote little notes in pencil in the book, but there's things that like I might go over my notes and be like, what? What was I thinking? What was I saying? Because I was in such like a weird state when I was reading it. And then chapter 2 I read afterwards. So first of all, how do you guys like the book? If you read it, if you have it, what's your overall feel so far of the introduction in chapters 1 and 2? Or maybe you've already read. Oops, I forgot about this. Good morning. Hi, Sam. That's okay. Oh, did somebody just DM me? Let's see. Okay, cool. Somebody just messaged me, and I'll look at it afterwards. But yeah, I'll give you the copy of the book. I saw it come through and I saw your username. So if anybody else DMs me, I will totally send you the copy. So that's cool. Thank you. What do you guys think of the book so far before I get into, I know it's 14 minutes in, I'm dragging this morning. But what do you guys think overall? Do you have it? Have you already read it? Are you just excited for the conversations in here? Let me know what you guys are up to and what your thoughts are on this. Or if maybe you've read more of Christopher's books. I haven't read Earth Magic yet, but I have the Oracle deck. Yeah, so do I. I actually really like the Oracle deck. I like really simple, almost like cheesy Oracle decks like that. Like, I really do like a good Doreen Virtue deck, I know, which I don't mean anything mean by cheesy, but you know what I mean. But I feel like Earth Magic Oracle is very stereotypical, like computer look like images. I don't know. And it's just like very simple. But I end up getting really profound messages from oracle decks like that. And since I've been using it, I've been finding a lot of connection to it. So I like his, I have it. I haven't so far. I like it. I have it. Angie, I don't know what's happening. Are you shorting out? You're like saying the same thing 3 different ways. I don't understand. Uh, it says, I like his style and what he suggests and how it's based more in reality and how anyone can do it. It wasn't so beyond a beginner, which is what made me get more of his books. Yeah, I agree. That's well said. But I don't know how to pronounce your screen name, so I'm sorry. Oh, coffee. Where's my IV? I just needed my veins. Okay, cool. So it seems like some of you in here do have the book. There's like writing all over this. Let's just go in and see if I can find. So the introduction was only like 2 pages. That was me. It switched my account. Sorry. Oh, hi, Christine. I know. I was like, who was that? Miranda. Great. I think he describes things in a good way, and that's good since my mother tongue isn't English. I also haven't really read this into this topic a lot, so it was very interesting to me. Yeah, and this kind of topic has been coming up quite a bit around me. We've danced around it a few times in live streams, very weirdly casual, and ended up getting kind of a heated conversation, or maybe a little ranty or whatever. But it's nice to have like focus on, here's our reading, here's what it's about. Let's actually talk and dive in and break down what sections and his specific opinions and knowledge on this topic. So yeah, the introduction's only like 2 pages, so let's just jump right into. Oh, also, I don't know if you guys, if you have the book, if your copy came with a CD in the back. I thought that was kind of cool. So there's meditations, there's banishing rituals, there's magic circle ritual. Ooh, I just heard my Michiganian accent when I said magic. Magic. Okay, so we start with chapter 1 on page 5, and it says, Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf? He goes through, just a basic intro of like the word occult, and how people like in movies and nowadays think of, the word witch and the word, yes, I was very surprised by the CD. I know. I was like, why is this so heavy? This paperback book is not that big. The word occult, how people think about the devil and negative energies. And he kind of is just like going into that. So what do I have here? You guys, what do I have here for this note? Okay, so on page 9, under Is Psychic Attack Real? I have underlined this. Again, this is going to be a hot mess because a lot of this I don't remember. I was like literally so out of body when I was reading this section. But in the last paragraph, on page 9, I underlined this part that says, We currently live in a society that is often fix-it or victim-oriented, and our natural reaction is to have someone to take care of things when they go wrong. Let me read the whole paragraph, actually. When I first taught the workshop on which this book is based, I started by trying to break this blame game, victim, fix-it mentality. I began saying that 90% of all psychic attacks are not attacks, but rather self-created illusions. Though this is true, it doesn't help the person experiencing the attack. My tough love approach is not the best approach when one is experiencing a psychic attack and doesn't know what to do. We currently live in a society that is often fix-it or victim-oriented, and our natural reaction is to have someone take care of things when they go wrong. If you realize you are actively involved in any psychic attack experience you perceive, then how can you be expected to fix it yourself? It is only when you experience it for yourself that you can sympathize with others who experience it. And oh my God, so many things came to mind. Good morning, Holly. How are you? I read some of the intro and first chapter in a free sample download, and it seems really cool book, but I don't see myself buying it. I'm cheap. It's all right, Danielle. If you jump on after we're done with this, After we're done with the 4 weeks of this book and you're the first one to DM me, then I'll send my copy to you. So a lot of things came to mind with this. And I guess I'm trying to figure out where I want to start here. I was raised by two very contrasting parents. One was very, you're in charge, you can do this, you're in control, you know. And another one was very like, why is this happening to me kind of thing. And that other parent did have, you know, also like a you can do it kind of attitude, very, you know, motivational, but it was a different sort of sense. And I feel like I had very contrasting ideas of like the blame game and also taking charge and fixing it myself, and proactive stances to things. And I think that I can see that even more so now and as I was growing up in life, especially in my teenage years in high school or when I had just left the house and stuff, seeing this specific role model, you know, this parental figure in my life who really um, just kind of had a very victim oriented mindset around a lot of things, who really liked to use pity, for things. And I don't I'm I have such a hard time because it's my truth and it's what I connect with and what I resonate with, but I also still don't want to shame or, you know, degrade or talk bad publicly on the internet about somebody, especially someone that, you know, I'm related to. Like, that's just not very cool. But again, like, this is very connected and shadowy to me. But I was very grateful for another side of things that was so positive all the time and so upbeat and so practical, and like the sense of, you know, you're in control and, you know, nothing happens to you. Just react the way you want and take control of things, um, versus the other side of it coming in. So for me, it was, when I was reading this, it was like kind of triggering, and I don't like to use that word, but it was kind of like, I was like, "Whoo, ha, that hurt a little bit." Like, I feel it. Um, and I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves, but it's so hard because I would think 80% of people, um, are just not aware or not, oh, God, that makes me sound so high and mighty. I guess maybe looking at like Facebook is kind of a clear indication, and that's what I put down. Facebook posts about bad relationships. It's got just like this "why is this happening to me" kind of energy. Yeah, oh my gosh, you literally typed "why is this happening to me." Um, Rebel Child Tarot says, I was raised in a "why is this happening to me" mindset, and I've been working to bring myself out of that. But it's important to find balance and to ask for help when needed. Right. I see a lot on Facebook, and if my family didn't live in all other states of the United States, and it's very hard for me to keep in contact or to see or feel connected to them when I'm not on something like Facebook, because that's the social media platform that they use is Facebook. I don't like Facebook. I don't really go on it. I go on it, you know, really to check in with my family. Because my friends I can get a hold of on other sites and stuff, but it's so overwhelming the amount of blame placed on other people for why their lives aren't working for them on Facebook. You see a lot of posts, and especially, I'm sorry, especially women. I don't know what it is, but I see so many women on Facebook who post these things like degrading men or talking about how all men are bad and how they'll never find a good man and you can only trust this person, and, you know, family's the only thing that matters because all men are dogs. Like, maybe it's just me, maybe that's just the kind of people that I still have that I haven't kind of nicked off my list. But there's some really good friends that I have even who, like, every single other post on Facebook is like how they don't want to be in a relationship because everybody's going to do them wrong because they always have been done wrong in the past. And to me, it's like, that is not proactive. Like, if that's what you want, if you want to never be in a relationship again, that's okay too. But I wouldn't, I don't know. I'm already getting really ranty, but I think this is where my mindset went when I was thinking about this victim oriented, fix it kind of mindset that he's talking about here. Is when you're constantly pushing out things or sharing things on social media, like, or I know a couple people who have been divorced for like a decade, and every day they're still posting things about their ex-husband or ex-wife and how they're horrible and how they didn't pick up the kids, or how they, can you believe this, that, this asshole or this person, still like how I don't I don't like, seeing that just makes me think that like there's so many people out there that like are don't you just want to shake them and be like, that's not helping you? Like, you're making it worse. And I don't mean to come from a judgy mindset. I'm really not. Like, I'm not. I'm just trying to talk about the connection. That's why I don't have Facebook anymore. Yeah. Oh my God, yes. Oh my goddess, yes. I've been with the same guy since ninth grade. Men will treat you how you allow it. Exactly. And I'm not, but I'm also saying, Jennifer, that sometimes people do find themselves in predicaments that they didn't mean to, and that's not me trying to be like every relationship that's bad is your fault, but it's more so about like what we're pumping out and what I can collectively see everyone's mindsets, not everyone. And it's easier for me to go on something like Instagram, where I have consciously surrounded people with, spiritual like-minded people on Instagram. Like, I do not follow any of my actual real life friends unless they are like-minded on, like, I have some of my best friends that I still don't follow on Instagram, because I don't want to see their posts and stuff, because that's not what I want to use that platform for. So if I want to connect with those friends, I connect with them like on Facebook or something like that, because I want to, when I go on Instagram, to feel whatever I want to feel. I want to see whatever I want to see, and I'm very selective with who and what I follow and what I'm, visualizing in content. And not that a best friend can't have good content or whatever. It's just there's some friends that I know that I am close with, but still, that I don't want to be sucking in that energy of like, I don't know. And it's not just women, but I think more so I see that with like, um, these memes or these quotes or whatever about how, basically victim mindset, or everybody's done me wrong, or I can't find someone good, or whatever. Um, anyways, I know I'm getting like tired preachy, which is like the worst because I'm not saying things eloquently or maybe how I want to. Yes, Miranda, I want to delete mine, but I keep in touch long distance friends and family. I think people mistake Facebook for a diary, Heather. That is so funny. Or like a burn book sometimes too. Like the amount of like shit people like air out their laundry on Facebook, like this mother, like I can't. It's like sometimes I feel like I'm turning on an episode of Maury, and I'm just like, what is happening? Jerry Springer, like who is she? Where is she? Um, I have a clear some of those folks off my Facebook. We're still friends, but I keep a certain distance. This book was written even before social media was a big thing yet. His books are so relevant. I know. That's really awesome. I actually didn't even look to when this book was produced, so that's actually interesting. It seems so relevant. I would have never known that. Thanks, Holly. You say that until you go through relationships with people and you are doing all you can and you still get treated like crap. No, I know. That's what I'm saying, Danielle. I'm not saying that what they're feeling and what they think isn't valid. Like, I don't want people to mistake that for that, because I've been in some really difficult situations and really difficult relationships where I felt a lot of the similar things. But I think the people that are consistently pumping out content or saying things or staying in a mindset of like, this has been done to me, like, why me, why is this happening, um constantly, even after it's over. Not even just relationships, okay, that was just an example. um just the people that I am surrounded with on that particular social media site, and a lot of like coworkers or people that I come in contact with day-to-day life that are just so focused on like how they're being done wrong. It's hard. It's hard because you just want them to feel better, and to get out of that mindset. Burn book and diary. I hear you. People forget what social media is really for. Yes, Jennifer. What do you think social media is really for, Holly? That's a good question to bring up. Because I think that people, I guess it depends on which social media platform that you're talking about, but what do you think social media is for? Yes, everybody, answer that question if you want. What do you think social media is for? I love when people post stuff, then you comment on it and they get offended. Yeah, I know, that's the thing too. It's also kind of law of attraction thing. If all you're talking and posting about is your dirty laundry, that's all you're going to be dealing with. I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to get at too, without going completely into the law of attraction, because it's really controversial again. And I feel like the last 3 witchy book clubs that we've had, we've been delving into law of attraction somehow. But you know what? It is what it is. I mean, if you continue to be stuck in this blame game, this why is this happening? Oh, woe is me. I don't know. It's just in my family, just post, oh my God, this bitch, or oh my God, I hate my life, or something that makes everyone go, hey, call me, or that, or what's wrong, and they never reply. They just want attention sometimes. I know. And that's something a little different too, is if somebody really does need like validation or help or attention, like that's a little different than actually feeling like the person thinks that the world is against them, or feeling like the universe is against them. Because again, like he goes into, in which we really haven't even continued the discussion on, he's saying that this is opening you up with that mindset, or that kind of overall feel of the world's against you. Why is this happening to me? I'm a victim. Like, oh, woe is me, is opening you up for, energetic attack or energetic funk to attach to you. Holly says the point the author is making is to feel your feelings. They are still valid even if they are negative, but he is saying to then move on and test to lest the negativity be drawn to you like a magnet. I just dropped the book. I do agree with putting everything out on Facebook. I don't understand. I don't agree. I don't understand why Facebook has become that. I know what you meant, Danielle. I think it's a fun place to connect and have some fun. Social is a place to connect with people and to network, essentially. Yeah. Yeah. But like social place. So what is like what's okay and what's not okay, or what forms into social and what forms into like, so how is it, I don't know. How should we be using social media, and especially something like Facebook? There's a difference between abuse, though, and just someone being a basic jerk and letting them do it. There's more to why people end up in abusive stuff that's not so cut and dry. Oh, God, I could go into that forever right now. Let me read the rest of the comments and see maybe if I can go back. You guys are commenting amazing things right now. It's kind of making my brain mushy, though. I personally think social media is just so you can contact people easier and share pictures of dogs and memes. Me. Oh my God. Literally the only thing I've posted in the last month has been videos that I've liked, that I've watched, of like kids, dogs, babies, or music. And then also I got bored the other day and I went on to a rap name generator on Google. And I posted all of the names that they came up with for my rap name. And I thought that was kind of fun and funny. And that's pretty much the only thing I posted in the last month. So, me. Deborah said, for me, it's an inspiration and staying in touch. I tend to snooze or unfriend people who don't meet that criteria. Yeah, but then it comes into like the guilt. There's a lot of people that I interact with so much on day-to-day life. That like if I unfriend them, they're gonna know. I know you can unfollow now, which is really great, but still, social media is to communicate ideas and ordinary people's lifestyles. At least it was in the beginning. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. For me, social media is for keeping up with people without really talking to them. I just see and like and hardly ever post. Yes, post about what's going on in your life if you want. Your page posts what you want, etc., and it will draw negative to you when you do. What? You really should self-censor some. Not everything is everyone's business. Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You guys are commenting so much. Let me pick up the book off the ground that I dropped. Hopefully you don't see nothing you ain't supposed to see when I bend down. I just looked back on my timeline and the last like personal thing I posted was that wasn't dog or memes, was March. Hats off to you, Sam. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got it. I'm here. I'm back. I'm starting to sweat. Okay. Well, we've only got a couple pages in and we went straight into the social media thing. Oh, you know what I watched? I didn't watch it. I listened to Vix from New Age Hipster. Do you guys know, how could you not know Vix from New Age Hipster? She has a podcast and I've only listened to one episode so far, and I listened to it yesterday, and it was, I think, her latest one, talking about basically social media and marketing and stuff. And there's some great insight to intention on pumping out things, especially from like a business mindset. So like people that are pumping out content, daily polls or things like that, or the intention and the validation, or the validity of what they're doing and how it connects with their business. Oh my gosh, my leg is like asleep right now. I use Facebook for hashtag coffee, hashtag bacon, and to manage Facebook ad account for work. Yeah, I don't even know. Literally, Facebook for me is dogs and babies and music. I like how Facebook was when I first started using it in college when it first came out. Yeah, I'm that old. No, same. I started using it, I think I started using it in college. I think it may have come out for me when I was in high school, but I don't know if anyone was really using it yet, and I think it was towards the end of when I was in high school. Um, but yeah, I used it in college as well. I realized if I didn't take care of myself and allowed myself to let the negative get to me, I truly wasn't at my 100% for those who really needed me to be. That's some great words, you guys. All right, so anyways, if you guys want to continue on the social media train conversation, I highly suggest you check out New Age Hipsters. I think it's New Age Hipster Radio, and it's her podcast. And her latest one was talking a lot about social media and the influence of trying to build a business in a world of social media, and what works and what doesn't, and how to feel like you're actually putting out things from a heart-centered, magical place instead of just what I feel I should be doing. And there was just, especially for someone like me who's trying to build a business through social media and through the internet, while also working in the physical realm on a business. So it was really insightful. And even if you're not in that mindset, there's some really great things that they come up with. So I would definitely check that out if you want. Okay, let's continue on, because I feel like we could get stuck in the social media conversation for a really long time, and that would be fine. But again, I just listened to New Age Hipsters podcast, and I feel like I would be doing such an injustice to the topic because they covered things so eloquently and so amazing. So I'm gonna, maybe if I can remember, I'll put a link down below to her podcast. So let's move on. So then the next section is about attracting attention. Page 11. At the bottom, I have underlined something and wrote some notes at the bottom, and it says, many practitioners in all traditions create conflict consciously or unconsciously as a way to feel more important in the grand scheme of things. Whew, that's a powerful sentence. Oh god, you guys are commenting such great things. Moderators, if you're here, help me out. You guys are talking and asking me questions in the comments, or if you guys are kind of just talking amongst yourselves, I'm having a hard time today, but also you guys are commenting really big, really wonderful, profound, deep comments. So if I'm missing something, my moderators, please help me out and retype it, or tag my name so I can see it clearly when it comes up. So let me read this again. And actually I'm going to continue the rest of the paragraph so we can go with my little notes here. Many practitioners in all traditions create conflict consciously or unconsciously as a way to feel more important in the grand scheme of things. But I found that such individuals are not as important as those who create healing and peace from any conflict. As you claim more of your magical power, reflect on how you wish to create. Again, this makes my brain kind of explode, and I think I have like 3 different notes here with things that this brought me up to. And I guess a question to you guys would be, is doing shadow work a way to create conflict? Or is it trying to work through conflict that's already there but hidden underneath the surface? Because sometimes I feel like when I acknowledge shadows, especially one that I've brought up recently, which was my struggles with binge eating, which is currently I'm going through a lot with it and I'm having a hard time. Um, but I'm really glad that I've been vocal and I've, come out with it and talked about it. But I guess something within me is like questioning whether or not, like, definitely ignoring it is not a good thing to do. It's definitely not great to avoid and to like let it go. But at the same time, there's something within me that, like, it seems almost as if I have acknowledged it, and so I was like, good job, I've acknowledged this shadow and I'm saying that I'm working through it and I'm vocalizing it and I'm joking about it, and I am being honest about it as well. But now that I've vocalized it, it's almost like, well, everyone knows, so why don't I just continue doing what I'm doing? And it's kind of like, is working into shadow work or diving into shadow work consciously creating more conflict, or is that part of the process where you have to acknowledge the conflict that's already there and then kind of like enhance it or kind of work and live through it in a really raw space so that you can, you know, yeah, you guys are commenting so many things. Okay, let me go back here because I'm bringing up a big topic here. So, Sam says weird, but I definitely just talked about this in my morning pages. I've been dealing with this so much through shadow work that I feel like I've created a bigger issue by facing the issues. I know, but like, I still do feel like diving into the shadow head first and living in it for a second, acknowledging it and really finding all the aspects of it is going to, shadow work in my opinion is trying to work through conflict internally instead of letting it manifest physically. I know, but when you're in it, it's kind of like that tower moment, Groon, where like it feels as though you're creating it and making it worse, even though I feel like it's worse to not acknowledge it and just to let it fester there and have it affect little things in your life on the day to day instead of just attacking it like, a big thing, or, going through it and really discovering where and how this shadow works and how you can use it as a benefit and how you can work through it and stuff. And now I'm so exhausted and raw that I don't want to do the work to fix it. I know. Your shadow work question is very deep subject matter. You're right. Never ignore it, though. I think sometimes things get worse before they get better. And that's kind of my mindset on it. Crow girl. I need to start doing morning pages. Yeah, that's a good practice to have. In therapy, we don't all need to acknowledge the problem exists before healing. In therapy, don't we all need to acknowledge a problem before it? Yeah, I know, but it almost seems like, well, it was kind of peaceful. I mean, it wasn't working great for me, and I definitely still had a problem with binge eating, but I feel like acknowledging it and bringing it to the surface definitely created a sense in me that I have created more conflict, or I have, you know, I don't know. I definitely don't resonate with the specific aspect of my shadow of binge eating in the sense of like, uh, unconsciously as a way to feel more important in the grand scheme of things. I don't feel that for that particular shadow. There definitely is other shadows that I deal with in myself personally that I do feel like I connect to that sentence with. Um, but it's just, it made me think about creating chaos and upset. And again, those people that I know of, or people in general that a lot of this victim mentality, or why is this happening to me, people seem to also be those who, or this is totally a different thing. You know that there's some people out there that almost seem like they don't know how to live unless there's some sort of chaos or some sort of conflict happening in their life. Like maybe they grew up in a very chaotic and conflicted home or in a mindset, and so that carried on with them in their adult life. And if that's you, you know, let me know, and let's if you're open to talking about it. I had to really reparent myself because I grew up in a very conflicted, again, you can tell parental raising. And then, you know, when my parents got divorced, there was a lot of chaos and conflict happening in my life, personally, and my family and home life. I think any child of divorce kind of has some sort of elements of that. But I think the divorce in my life was very traumatic. Um, but I had to really reparent myself on how to not want to always live in chaos and conflict, because I think that if I wouldn't have been aware of it, I could have easily gotten stuck in wanting to always feel like there's something there that I need to be dealing with or complaining about or, you know, working through kind of thing. Does anybody, oh my gosh, you guys are on it with the comments today. I recently read a book called Witch that you may want to read. It's a book about the spiritual feminine, but really about reclaiming the word witch. Yes, I have read that book. It's by Lisa Lister. She's amazing. And I definitely recommend everyone to read Witch. I did have a harder time getting through that book, um, just because I feel like a lot of it was kind of a little repetitive for me, but there was some really great elements in the book, which, yeah, so I have read that book. Morning pages have honestly changed my life, but it does bring up a lot of issues, so you have to be prepared to deal with them. So, Sam, explain to everybody what morning pages is, because I kind of have an idea of what you mean by morning pages, but can you type, and I'll get to it at some point, for people who are interested in what you're talking about, doing morning pages. Rebel Child Tarot. I'm honestly not sure if shadow work creates conflict. In my opinion, you become more aware of conflict through shadow work. Yeah, I know. I guess that's kind of what I'm feeling as well. But when you're in it, when you're doing it, when you access the shadow, and when you're consciously like dealing with it, it feels as though you're creating more conflict or creating more chaos on purpose. I think it's more just sort of like that, sometimes that tower mindset. And I give this as an example a lot because personally, whenever I've dealt with tower energy, and I'm talking about the tarot card, the tower, when I've dealt with tower energy in my life, when you're in the bubble, it's like, why? Oh my gosh, you know, it's really, really hard to see the light or to see the benefit when you're in such a destructive and in challenging energy. And then when you step out of it, you're like, oh, okay. Still hard, but I got it, you know? So that's what I mean. Anyways, I'm sorry I'm missing a lot of your comments. I had some issues with the book seeming more about rah rah. Okay, you guys are talking about witch, which is fine, but I'm just trying to catch up. Hi to people who are just coming in. Shadow work can create conflict because if you're not ready to face it, it actually don't properly understand your shadow and where they're coming from, it can cause you more stress. I can see that as well. Or maybe somebody says like is talking about their shadow, and you're like, oh wait, bing, light bulb, that's my shadow. But then like you're not ready to actually deal with it, but it's brought to your attention, and you're like, well, what do I do now? I don't want to deal with that. But it's kind of like forcing you to go into it. Hun, it's like having a kid. If you wait for the right time, you'll miss the chance. That's very true. And also, I feel as though obviously shadow work is never done or over with, but I feel as though we're kind of always continuously building shadows within us. Um, so I could be trying to deal with the shadow work that comes and stems from something deeply rooted in my childhood. Um, and I might be working through it really well, but simultaneously discovering that I'm, you know, that a shadow is being brought up in a career sense or something, or, um, anyways, I don't know that I don't need to go off on another tangent. Sammy, do you carry talismans as reminders on your person? I carry a few items with me sunrise to sunset. Talismans. I carry crystals. I wear jewelry. Trying to think of talismans. Mostly, I would think jewelry, but I'm very selective and very intentional about the jewelry that I wear, even if it's not spiritual jewelry. I feel like everything holds power and intention and memories. Like if I got this specific necklace, like I have necklace that is like super cheap and that isn't that great, but a necklace that my brother gave me when I was in, I think, 8th grade. He like rode his bike to this garage sale and bought me this necklace and got it for me as a congratulatory thing for like going into high school or something. And I like that, and sometimes I'll wear it, and when I'm putting it on, it's for whatever reason I feel connected to that. So I would say mostly my talismans are crystals that I might take with me to work or keep it on my body for certain reasons, or oh, I have this is really getting off topic, but I'll answer the question. I just recently found a brooch that I made in a metals class, and it's a white rabbit and with a chain connected to a pocket watch, and I made it in metals class in college, and I'm working with the goddess Coventina, and I really do like the brooch. I made it and I forgot about it for years and years, and I just found it and I attached it to one of my jackets. But one of the kind of symbols or things associated with Coventina is brooches. So I put that on there, and that's sort of like a talisman that I'm working with now. I'm sweating so bad. Okay, so morning pages, Sam says, are basically writing at least 3 pages every morning, preferably right after you wake up. You might feel like you have nothing in your head to write about, but eventually all of the stresses and issues you think about on a daily basis will start flowing out of you. Eventually, you will start writing about stuff you didn't even know you were worried about. All right, so that's wonderful. Guys, guess what? Sam came up with our homework for the next week. Don't get upset. I don't want to hear no moaning and groaning. I don't want to write. I don't have time to write in the morning. I don't like writing. I'm not good at writing. Blah, 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 blah. Well, do it. Okay? Because I couldn't come up with any homework with all the stuff that I was doing. And I was actually going to ask you guys for help with this. And I cannot believe we're already an hour almost into this live stream. But anyways, that's going to be your homework. And I'm going to partake in it as well. For the next week, we will all be doing our morning pages. 3 pages. Sam, is it front to back pages or is it just like 3 pages? Because that's a lot. And I'm a great writer and I write all the time, but that's a lot. Okay, you guys do what you see fit, okay? But I'm going to do 3 pages, but just 3 pages, not 3 pages front and back. But let me go back. You also don't read that. You don't go back to read the pages because once the issues, okay. If you guys want to DM me, you can if you have any questions. Okay, I already get an A. Yeah, I already am gonna get an A. You are. So that's your homework. Okay, your homework is for the next week to do and try out morning pages. So every morning when you wake up, create time. If you need to get up earlier, if you need to, cut out your scroll time when you're laying in bed with your social media as soon as you get up, whatever it is, double time while you're doing the dishes, right? Or whatever you do in the morning. Or if you are someone that literally rolls out of bed and puts on clothes and goes to work, I kind of suggest to change that up anyway. So maybe wake up a little earlier and give yourself some time to discover what you might find within morning pages. So I'm going to be doing that as well. So for the next week, until we see each other again next Monday, every morning I would like you guys to write 3 pages and kind of go in and discover. And like Sam said, I didn't read all of the comments, but there was a part that I flipped by that said, like, sometimes she doesn't have anything to say, so she literally just writes like blah, 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 blah. I don't know what to say. Whatever it is, just get into a habit of writing, and let's see what that shows or discovers. And if you guys don't do it, that's fine. I'll do it, and I'll tell you about how it goes. I would love to get back to writing. Perfect. That's awesome. I can't make, oh my gosh. Okay. Sammy, starting tomorrow morning, every day till the next live stream. Yeah, starting. If you guys want to start tomorrow morning, you can, because then we'll count the morning of Monday as your last one. But yeah, I would say start tomorrow morning and write 3 pages every morning until next Monday till we meet. Do some morning pages and see what you guys discover. See if it makes you feel better. If it doesn't really do anything for you. I'm just going to add that the first week is really hard, but I've been doing it for 2 months and I skipped Sunday, which I was such in a big bad mood all day because of it. Well, that's easy. I knew that. I can't believe I couldn't figure that out. Okay. Yeah, so Sam's saying that it is very difficult. It's not going to be something, which starting any new habit or any new thing is definitely going to be a little different. Yeah, so Jennifer, if you just want to write poetry, that's fine too. Or, if you can't think of anything to say, you can literally just sit there and be like, I have a door in my room. My dresser is brown. My bedspread is rose. Whatever. You could literally write whatever you want. Just do 3 pages of it every morning for the next week. That's our homework. Okay, cool. Thanks, Sam, because I was gonna ask you guys for help for homework, and that sounds great. All right, let's continue. I'd love to try to get to chapter 2, but we'll see here. Okay, I had a lot of notes in chapter 1 though, so look at all my notes on this page. We're on page 12 now, so turn the page if you have the book. Under psychic dangers, I underlined, I can't stop touching my hair because it feels disgusting. Okay. Just because we don't believe in an ultimate source of evil, like the Christian devil, does not mean that people's strong intentions and beliefs have not created thought forms and constructs of evil, or that less than loving spirits don't answer to the various names of the devil to receive attention and energy from humans. Big sentence there. Like big meaning, big deep things to talk about here. Should I read it again? My brain's a little foggy. I think I'm going to read it again here because then I'm going to tell you what I had written in the sidelines here in my little pencil. Just because we don't believe in an ultimate source of evil, and maybe you do, and that's okay too, but I'm just reading what it says here. Just because we don't believe in an ultimate source of evil, like the Christian devil, does not mean that people's strong intentions and beliefs have not created thought forms and constructs of evil, or that less than loving spirits don't answer to the various names of the devil to receive attention and energy from humans. And then he goes into some more things like physical harm, harmful energy, harmful judgments, and there's more notes in that, but just that sentence alone to me was really powerful. What do I have on the sidelines here in my hospital stay stupor? I put constantly being told negative things, or someone constantly pointing out your flaws, or expectations of others, shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's a sentence that my grandma says that used to drive me up an effing wall when I was younger. Like, my grandma's always saying things like, don't should on me. Don't should on me. Or she'll say, shoulda, coulda, woulda. And as a kid, I was just like, that sentence, those things, like, really made me uncomfortable. But what my grandma does is when somebody says to her, you should really do this, or you should be doing this, or whatever, she will just blatantly and bluntly with her Sagittarius mouth go, don't shut on me. Like, and I think that's why I was uncomfortable about it, because I was like, as a child, and my Virgo ascendant was like, excuse me, that's pretty blunt. But no, now as I'm older and I understand what that means, it makes a lot more sense to me. I really try my hardest not to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. It is not my place. It is not my business. And I'm setting my expectations for them up when their expectations for themselves and how they live their lives is totally different, or could be totally different. And whenever you have someone that's telling you how you should do something or how you shouldn't do something, you're really, it's not an energy that I feel like is a great place to be. But having someone constantly telling you, or if you have a friend or a parent or someone that's constantly picking out your flaws, or if you're someone that's constantly picking out somebody else's flaws, or constantly being told negative things, like if you're surrounding yourself with people that, are really focusing on traumatic things, I think tuning into the news is helpful once in a while, but I don't watch it. But someone who lives in a home where the news is constantly on 24/7 is something that I don't resonate with, because the news is all negativity. It's all garbage. It's horrible, horrible things. And you do want to have a sense of non-avoidance around it, but at the same time, consuming all of the negative, bad things that are happening that really don't even affect you at that point. The smaller stories, it's hard for me not to think, that what you would think the devil or negative energy is, or negative spirits. So, oh my gosh, sorry, I'm getting into so many different topics here. Jennifer, the devil was an angel who was rebellious, and his punishments was not to punish humans for sinning, not to make them sin. That's an interesting topic. Oh my gosh, I missed a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, yes, the suggestion of "have you tried this" comes off much more or less pushy. You should try this, even if you have the best intentions. Yeah, bye, Angie. Thank you so much for being here today and for helping me so much yesterday with my live stream on the 24-hour Tarothon. So, yeah, you better do that homework. You don't want to fail my class. Okay, so let me break this down a little simpler and ask you guys a question around this, because I just brought up a whole bunch of things, right? Let's talk about shoulda, coulda, wouldas and how important our words are. Have you thought about the weight that the word should holds? Yes, my grandmother and mother only ever watched the news and talk shows all day long, and they were both toxic, negative people who were always unhappy. Um, I'm not saying that that's the reason why they were, but I can see how it would be hard for them to not carry some sort of that energy with them throughout their day if that's all that they have on. Like I said, a good people to be at least aware of what's going on in the world, but it's more so about, it's just an example of how we can. I'm picking sap out of my blanket. Just, the news is so depressing, we don't watch it. If something serious is going on in the world, I usually just read the headlines on my phone. And it's sad that we have to do this, because I really would love to watch the news. I would love to get, an idea of what's going on. Where you can get great news is James DeFranco. What's his name? Philip DeFranco on YouTube. He's a great source of news, because he does talk about the issues and when big things are happening in the world, or things that he thinks that we should be plugging into that are important, or maybe people will ask him to cover about, and he does. If you don't know Philip DeFranco on YouTube, he does like a news segment, and he goes over things, whether it's YouTube related or presidential things that you need to know, or just things that have happened in the world in general. And it's like, I know maybe I shouldn't be getting only my news source from like YouTubers, but I feel like he's so independent in his thoughts. He does swing a little bit more on the liberal side, but even then, like, he just covers the issues that should be covered in the way that it should. I shouldn't. But anyways, I never thought about the power of those words, but I'm constantly telling myself I should work out, as if it's something that I don't want to do, or that I should meditate every day. That word tends to make me not want to do those things, because I feel like it's a chore than something I want to do to make myself feel better. Looks like your morning pages tomorrow are going to be about the word should. The word should has been been in my mind since I was a child, because it was something like that my grandma was very, very, very vocal about. Do not should on me. I do not. And the way that she uses her words, and especially how I use my words in my tarot readings and guidance to others, or when I was doing natal chart readings, I was so conscious to not say the word should, and not in like a obsessive way, but like I really have revocalized things when I'm in a reading, be like, I suggest, or what you might want to try, or it might be beneficial to, or I can see that this is affecting you. Maybe, going down this path could be helpful for you, or however, wording it instead of shoulding on somebody and making it so that it has to be one way or the other. it creates a lot of guilt and conflict within people if one, they don't resonate with what you're telling them they should and shouldn't do. And that's mostly what people come off. You see family members or friends telling you, like, well, let's say you have a parent that's like, you should be married, or one, like, you should be having a baby, or you should be having your career, or you should be doing this or this and this. And the negativity and the conflict that like rises up with being told what you should and shouldn't do is just insane to me. Yeah, I am rambly in such a like distracted way. I hope that you guys are following with me in some sort here. I feel like my back is sweating really bad, and then I'm like discoloring the paint on my wall. Is that disgusting or what? I'm missing a lot of your comments. Yes, my parents do give their opinion for everything. A lot of shoulds on how I should be or do. I thought getting married was going to lessen this, but nope. Patty, maybe sit down and have a conversation with them and tell them. I know this might seem really weird, but be like, I don't want you to should on me anymore. So I would like you to not. Yeah, oh my gosh, homework number 2, Crow Girl. Yes, homework number 2. And I'll finish my thought. Homework number 2 for the week is to eliminate the would should. Whether you're thinking it for yourself, thinking it for others, saying the would should or should to others or yourself. So if you're thinking, oh, I should really get up in the morning, or oh, I should really not have eaten that, or in a past tense or present tense or future tense, let's eliminate the word should from our vocabulary for the next week and do it the best that we can, or at least be conscious of it when you're saying it. Could you have said the sentence in a different way other than, oh yeah, I should really be working? Be like, oh, I need to be working, but I'm not right now. So let's do this. Replace it with other things. That's our second homework. And if you can't think of anything to write in the morning for your morning pages, think about how in which you resonate with things that you should or shouldn't do, and the people in your life and the family in your life that you think that they should or shouldn't be doing certain things. Like if you have children and you think your children shouldn't be playing too many video games, and how and why you can communicate that to them in a loving and different way other than shooting on them. So this is positive homework. You guys are great. Yeah, that's our 2 homework for the day. Let me go back up because I think Sam was saying something pretty good, or somebody was saying something really good. I don't know. Oh, Patty, I was talking about sitting down with them and telling them, listen, I know that you guys have your opinions. I know that you think and you want the best for me and you love me, and that's why you want to guide me into a way of how you think my life should be going. But I would really like it if you could, suggest things for me instead of telling me how you think I should or shouldn't live my life. And I think that they would ultimately be at least receptive to that. If maybe not at first, I don't know them and everybody reacts to different things differently. And you might have to give them specific situations in which someone's calling me. I have to decline your call. I'm sorry. So yeah, and wait till you have a baby. Somebody said that too. Oh yes, I had the conversation with my mom. Dad is next. And how did that go, Patty? How did that go for you? Did your mom was your I just saw a comment from Sam that says, I need to. There could be some difficulty in that sentence as well. Only if you're phrasing it on what you actually need to do instead of what you think that you need to do. And that's just going to bring up a lot of like what our intentions are at, where our intentions at, where our mindset's at with like what we think we need to do. Like, oh, I need to do the dishes. Do you? What do you need to do more? What do you need to do more? Have you made your lunch for work so that you're not going to have to go out and buy carry out? Can your dishes sit in the sink until you get home from work versus you planning a healthy meal for yourself for lunch and maybe prepping dinner? What do you actually need to do? What do you think you actually should do? And when you're conscious of what you're shoulding on yourself and others in the next week, I think you're really going to be able to place some validity on how and why certain aspects of your life might not be working for you. Me too. I'm not sitting on a high horse here and saying like like I'm so perfect. I never should, because I just did right after I was talking about it. But there's certain areas in which I feel like I'm a little bit better at it, only because I grew up in a very like don't shit on me mindset. You know what another thing my grandma does is, which I thought I would bring up later when reading this book. She says, and it still kind of like bugs me and bothers me, but whenever she does it, I like understand why she does it. She does something where she says, cancel, cancel. Even saying it, like, it makes me angry. It makes me angry when she says it. Because as a child, we'd be doing something, or we'd say something, and my grandma would come in and be like, cancel, cancel. And we'd be like, it almost seems like she was like belittling us or putting us down, or stifling whatever we were saying or doing. So I was very resentful of whenever she said that. But as I grew older and as I understood what she was doing, in her mind, when she says cancel, cancel, she either says it when somebody says something and she doesn't want that energy to manifest. So if someone's like, this is for instance, if someone was like, oh man, God, it was so hard, I was like gonna kill myself, joking, she will say cancel, cancel. Like, she doesn't want those words or those energies or those things to manifest around her or within her or in her mindset. And so she'll say them out loud, and it's like, what? Excuse me? What? Cancel? What are we canceling? The day? Okay, great. I could go back to bed anytime now. Thank you. But sometimes she'll say it when she thinks something bad, or when she says something and then realizes that she doesn't want that to continue, that energy to continue. So she'll say stuff, she might be like, I can't do it, I just feel like I can't do it and I'll never be able to do it. Like, oh, cancel, cancel, Yeah, I figured that it would come up in the book, Christine. Yeah, I'm very blunt. Like, I have a bad habit of not even saying you should. I'll just say go do it. Yeah, so in the next week, let's do our writing. Let's do our 3-page writing. And hi, Gray Night Sky. How are you? Everybody, Gray Night Sky is here. I don't know why I was so like drawn to his channel, and I posted his Instagram and his channel on my Instagram story. He hasn't posted in what seems like years, but for some reason I was really drawn to his channel. So if you're looking for some fun, he talks a lot of God and goddesses and stuff. So on his channel, if you guys want to go take a look. I don't know why, dude, I want to shout you out all the time, but like, you just seem super cool. So Gray Night Sky, yeah, you have a cool channel. You should see. Did you guys just hear what I did? Did you just hear me should? Did you just hear me should? Did you just hear it? I was gonna say you should post again. Why would I do that? Why? Because I'm putting my expectation on him of what I feel like he should do, but really it's not what I feel like he should do, it's what I want him to do. I want him to post more because I liked his content and he hasn't posted in a while. So do I really think he should, or do I want him to because I want to reap the benefits of it? Can't believe I just did that. Just can't believe I just did that. But yeah, it's interesting. So that's a good homework as well to keep going. But Crogrosa is such a hard habit to get out of. Cancel, cancel. It's an easy habit to get out of. You just have to try. Okay, now I'm being obnoxious. All right, so let's go. It's an old school thing. I had a friend whose mother told her sister that she would never have children. She never did. So whether she made it happen or not, she always felt like it was her fault. Yeah. Yeah, you would, or you will never, or yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But I feel like should is a hard enough word to kind of start with. So this poor dude has no idea why you don't want to say should. Great, nice guy. Watch the playback. It also kind of looks like I'm naked. I swear I'm not. Okay. Let's keep going because I think we've beaten the should with a dead horse, and I'm sure that I will say it again and then feel like an ass. So underneath he talks about harmful energy. So harmful energy, and he goes through a lot of this, but I specifically kind of canceled out this little section in here. He says, harmful energy is a phrase I use where other people say negative energy. I don't use the term negative and strongly suggest that other people don't use it in ritual with me. Denoting negative with bad and positive with good is a polarizing New Age concept. Although the intention behind such words is clear, the literal meaning is not, since negative and positive refer to an electrical charge, and things like negative ions can be healthy for you. Anything that brings you out of balance is bad, but is not necessarily negative. If it is something that causes harm, disruption, or imbalance, then it can be called harmful, unbalanced, or discordant energy. This I freaking loved, but I don't really resonate with it being called harmful energy. Let me go back. So that's a lot to swallow, right? But thinking about negative and positive energy, and even then when my grandma was teaching me tarot and astrology and learning the zodiac, she really, really tried to influence me not to say negative. Positive was okay, but not negative. So things like challenging or difficult or imbalanced was a little bit more on the wavelength of where she wanted me to go with certain energies. Because here's the thing, right? And we discussed this when we went over our astrology section in Witchy Book Club. If you guys were here, if you weren't, that's fine. But we broke down the 12 zodiac and their associated planets, houses, and all of that stuff. So if you think about when we were learning that, if you were there, you think about something like, okay, let's think about Taurus, right? Let's think about the sign of Taurus and what could be considered positive or negative traits of Taurus. Let's talk about the positives, right? Gentle, oh my God. I was trying to think of the word that I'm thinking of where it's like they're committed. Thank you. Oh my God. I'm so tired from last night. They're committed, they're fixed. They really like the senses. They're great for long-term relationships or sticking with a project or sticking with situations like career and stuff like that. Just a few of the positives of Taurus, right? While some of the negatives of Taurus could be that they're stubborn, that they, are slow moving to a fault, or they can get stuck in situations that are not great for them for too long because of the fact that they are fixed and they don't like change and all of these things. But if you think of this as a negative trait for another energy, such as Gemini, who has a hard time sticking with one thing for too long and is always going over and over and over and starting new things and constantly going over, this negative aspect of Taurus is a positive thing for Gemini to gravitate towards, So having a mindset around something being negative is very situational, and I don't find any benefit in thinking of it in that way because, again, like thinking of the energy of Taurus, like let's maybe just focus on maybe how, they can get stuck in situations for too long, like maybe staying in a career that's no longer serving them or a relationship that's no longer serving them or needing to move out of a home for a while but hasn't because they're afraid to. But if you think about Gemini and how they're always all over the place and that they can't hold down to one thing, that is a positive trait for them to have to hold on to and to take in. So it's more so like, okay, him saying things along the line of negative ions can be healthy for you. And if it's more so using or thinking about negative as a term or a way to having an imbalance, so everything having, oppositions or light or dark or challenges or ease for certain energies is a little bit more beneficial for people to be thinking or saying. And it's hard because these words like positive and negative or things like that are so ingrained in our vocabulary, or so ingrained in the way that we speak about certain things. And I'm just using astrology as an example, but with anything, because one person's negative could be something that someone else is trying to get and would be a positive thing for them. So what he's saying is more so about using the word harmful energy. So if something is actually negative, is it actually negative, or if it's feeling like it's harmful? Let me read this again. Harmful energy is a phrase I use where other people say negative energy. I don't use the term negative energy and strongly suggest that other people don't use it in ritual with me. Denoting negative with bad and positive with good is another polarizing New Age concept. Although the intention behind such word is clear, the literal meaning is not. Since negative positive refers to an electrical charge and things like negative ions can be healthy for you, anything that brings you out of balance is bad. But it is not necessarily negative. If it is something that causes harm, disruption, or imbalance, then call it harmful, unbalanced, or discordant energy. And for me, the word harmful carries a little bit too much of like cuts and injuries and things like that. Like, I associate the word harm or harmful with physical ailments. So I like the words more so with difficult and challenging. So challenging energy or imbalanced energy or difficult energy is a little bit easier, or kind of smooths over that. And I'm not going to give you homework on saying bad, not saying bad or positive, but it does kind of go for if you're thinking about, even if you're into tarot or if you're into just, self-awareness in general, thinking about negative energy or thinking about things in your life that's negative for you, that negative energy could be somebody's positive or something that they're working towards. It's more so when you have something that's out of balance or imbalanced. Like, I'm going to go back to my binge eating. My relationship with food is imbalanced. But it's not negative. It's not a negative mindset, because somebody else might be searching for the energy to be able to eat more. Such a hard, deep, that I don't know if I'm explaining very eloquently for how tired I am. So, what are you guys saying? Anything? Did I lose you? Oh, God. I never looked at my Taurus traits being negative or positive. Good. Don't start. Sorry I brought it up. I definitely stopped thinking of a lot of things as negative, but more of something to work on, or maybe to embrace and shape it into something that can be used in certain situations. That's awesome. I'm not there yet. You're better than all of us already. Deborah said there are those who bring harmful energy into a space, though. I was part of a group once, and this man showed up who enjoyed preying on pagan women. Harmful. Whew, that's an intense comment. I'm sorry, Deborah. I so late. I feel like I missed so much. I gotta watch the playback. Victoria Lynn. For me, being as tired and groggy as I am, we're really getting into some meaty conversations. So, feel free to watch the playback, girl. Anybody else have anything else to say or want to comment on that? I just thought it was an interesting thing to bring up with thinking about one person's negative or, negative aspects or negative energy being something for, a positive for another person, and to think about it like that. I can understand that, because negative is associated with something that is bad instead of it being something that is simply more challenging to deal with. Yeah. Yeah, basically what I was trying to say, just written better. So thanks, Danielle. Oh my gosh, Deborah, that's horrible. I don't even want to read that comment out loud. Yucky. Cancel on him. Okay, let's keep moving on, because again, we're not even to chapter 2, and I don't think I'm going to live stream for more than 2 hours. I say that, and then that never happens. Okay, so now I'm on to then negative and positive is subjective too. Exactly. Oh my God, Deborah, I hope I hope everything turned out okay. Yeah, I know, that's horrible. Okay, so I'm on page 14 now, and for anybody who's joining in who doesn't know what we're doing, we're going over The Witch's Shield. This is a new book that we're starting, so we'll be doing this for 4 weeks, and this is week 1. We're going over chapters 1 and 2, and we also read the introduction. But I'm on page 14 right now, and there's the second paragraph to the bottom of the page. It says, next, I have the rest of the group sorry, let me start that again. So obviously I'm going into the middle of a conversation here, but you guys will pick up on it. It says, next, I have the rest of the group send strong thoughts to the person, cueing them silently through okay, sorry, let me give you some backstory. He's talking about using energy or harmful judgments is the section that we're under, and how thoughts or words or even just like thoughts can affect a person's energy or aura, depending on what they are or how that they're directed at a person. So it's an experiment that he's talking about where he was in a group session, and this is an example of how he feels like this worked. Next, I have the rest of the group send strong thoughts to the person, cueing them silently through cards as to whether the thoughts should be complimentary or derogatory. So like one person is standing or sitting in the middle of a group surrounded by other people, and that person has their eyes closed, and he's cueing these other people in this room whether to send negative or positive energy to this person. I don't know why I just said the same thing I just read, but whatever. When people think things like, I love you, you are beautiful, you are strong, the person, without even physically hearing these words, is strengthened. When the group thinks things like, I hate you, you're ugly, you are weak, or any put downs, the personal strength level grows weak. This change occurs without the person actually hearing a word. Then he actually talks about where he did it like, test the weakness of the arms. So he's like testing the strength of the arms of the person when they're thinking certain things. Anyways, there isn't one key term for it. Negative is a generalization. Things can be harmful, challenging, or sometimes there's just things we don't like. Yes. Agreed. So when someone judges you in a non-constructive way, they may be sending harmful energy to you. This doesn't mean we should not judge or compare things in our daily life, but the spirit in which we do so plays a critical role. You can judge someone's work as a faulty or dislike something about the person, but when you judge the entire person to be faulty or no good, you're potentially harming them. Name calling is a form of psychic attack, even though they are often unintentional. We are not trained to realize that our words and thoughts have power. And I was thinking about this, like, I've seen this before, and then I just saw it recently on Facebook, but where they do experiments with plants. And we've talked about this when we went over the Green Witch book, and how I love my plants. I name them, I talk to them, I touch them, I energetically send them love. When I'm watering them, I have a lot of magic that goes into my relationship with my plants. But they've done studies where they've stuck the same plant in basically like different locations, but the same sort of like sunlight and conditions. And that they've put like love me signs over it in a school, or like, bully me. So kids will pass by and like send love to the plant and say nice things to it or talk to it or whatever in a loving way. And then go over to the other one and bully it and shame it and talk bad to it. And that plant dies, or that plant struggles, whereas the one that's loved flourishes. And I've been hearing things and studies like this but for so long. Like there was another one where they did greenhouses where the plants were listening to something like classical, or something a little bit more light and lovely sounding music, versus like negative, like death metal could be cool, but like maybe like really really harsh music. They did well in more of like a classical kind of sense than maybe like a I hate you death metal. Same sort of thing. And thinking about that, if plants are susceptible to such visual reactions to words in the mindset and things like music or bullying and everything, um, how are we not the same? How are we not? And I am someone who I'd like to think talks really nicely about other people, but I can be really judgy. I can be really critical. I can be really like behind closed doors shit talker about people. I can. It's not my best trait. I will admit that definitely. I try not to be gossipy, but it's something that like is within me that like screams to come out, and I try so hard and I don't do well sometimes. And that's just it is what it is. It's something that I could use to get better in. Um but I have to think like when I'm doing that, I'm sending that person intentionally or unintentionally, or when we're talking about someone, or when I'm, judging someone in my mind, I'm sending that energy to them. And I am a big believer of you can't um, take on anyone's energy if you don't want to. So if someone's trying to place negativity on you, or send you bad energy, or is talking bad about you, you won't that won't attach itself to you if you don't let it. But sometimes you don't know not to let it. Sometimes you don't know when people are talking about you behind closed doors. And I think that's a lot of what the premise of this book is to shield yourself against certain aspects like that. Holy crap, she's preachy, ranty, rambly today. But why does it bother people how anyone judges them? Do you guys get bothered by things like that? Good question. People are sick. Glad that gets me. Glad you're okay. Okay, you guys are still talking about something that I missed in the comments with Deborah. So thanks for being there for her, because I was on a ranty ramble. Anyways, I was just thinking about, this situation about you are beautiful, you are strong versus you are ugly and I hate you. You're tacky and I hate you. You see me after class. What movie is that from? Let's rock today. Let's move on. We're an hour and a half into this. Ooh, this is a good, damn, I literally just finished this book, Synchronicities. Hi, Erica, how are you today? Love a good synchronistic moment. Let's go to page 17, you guys. We're making our way through. We're still making our way downtown. We're not going to make it through chapter 2. I highly doubt that. Okay. Psychic vampires. The coffee is setting in. Let's go to chapter 17. This one made me feel some things, because I feel like I was taught by my grandma that there's such a thing as energy vampires, but to me, I feel like it's still a blame game kind of thing. So let's read the section that I had underlined, and maybe you guys don't have the book or you don't know what I'm talking about, and let me explain it a little bit more. On page 17, under psychic vampires, it says, the word vampire conjures up a dark gothic image of one purposefully going out and doing harm, a creature of evil. Most people who are categorized as psychic or energy vampires are not conscious of what they are doing and don't understand the mechanics involved, usually because they are raised in a world that doesn't understand or accept psychic energy. Most of these people are not in a place of spiritual health or power and are often plagued with physical, mental, or emotional issues and depression. That's not to say that if you have emotional issues or depression that you are an energy vampire, but you know what he's saying. There's been times in which my grandma has, like, I'll meet with my grandma and she'll be like, oh my gosh, I was at the store and I started talking to this woman or whatever, and then I was done and I was like, I realized that she was an energy vampire, or she sucked the energy out of me and I let her, it's obviously, again, it comes down to like, you can't let anyone take your energy, or, suck the energy from you if you don't want to. But if you're not conscious of it, or you're not thinking about it, have you ever been around, if you don't know what I'm talking about, like if you've ever been around somebody, or if you have a friend or a family member, or you've interacted with somebody where like talking to them for more than 5 minutes, when they're gone, you feel actually drained. Like you feel actually exhausted just trying to carry on a regular conversation with them. That's what they're talking about. That's what he's talking about with psychic or energetic energy vampires. But again, we're coming like a devil's advocate kind of way and thinking about somebody could be an energy vampire for one person and the biggest and greatest charge of an energy motivator to another person. Um, so I find that people with a really, really high energy, like really, really go, 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 like very bombastic, dramatic, intense energy. Um, I might like them and I might be able to hang out with them, but I do feel very drained afterwards because I have to really reach my energy up to meet them. And I have to really kind of like force myself to go up to that energy stance. And sometimes I can get excited and energetic and everything, but it's a wordy, heady kind of energy and not a very fiery energy. I am really earthy and mostly grounded, unless I'm like in a live stream or doing something. But I feel like a lot of people who have very energetic, very like fiery, passionate, like loud energy, kind of I end up feeling a really drained afterwards. But at the same time, other people might find them like enthralling or in just interesting, and they might get charged up, or they might feel like, so it's kind of people's perspectives. But I think along the lines too is somebody who is stuck really in a low point energetically or mentally, or and not being able to focus on much other than where that low energy, low vibration is. um Interacting with somebody who you feel drained, or you feel it's so hard to carry on a normal conversation, that's that kind of energy. um let's see what you guys are saying here. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. I have this certain person, whenever they are over, once they leave, I feel completely drained. So I also stage my house afterwards. Yeah, so I mean, ooh. Yes, my best friend. Hope I have put the phone down and come back a couple of minutes later and she was still talking. She still wants so much attention from you. She wears you out. That's, just how you are interpreting her energy. But again, some people might find her like energetic and charging in a helpful way, in a positive way. um there's other things that he says about this, but yeah, he's just explaining what it is. Let's see what else. Victoria Lynn says, definitely have energy vampires in my life. I have to be careful because it can be draining and they tend to take advantage of my energy, of my giving energy. I would um I would caution you from thinking or using the terminology, they tend to take advantage of my giving energy. And more so, see, that's the thing about energy vampires, or thinking about people in a sense of being an energy vampire, where it almost is a get out of jail free card to think about it in a blame sense. Whereas like, oh my gosh, this person just always takes my energy when they're around. Like they just suck the energy from me. They're an energy vampire. And I'm not saying that we can't have the mindset around some people as kind of more of a difficult sense of dealing with them, but I don't want this to be an excuse for us to be, and I'm not calling you specifically out, Victoria Lynn, because I've done this myself as well, especially when my grandma started introducing things as energy vampires, because there'd be people in my life, or challenging relationships that I would have, where I would use them as this excuse to call them energy vampires and be like, they just suck the energy out of me. I can't deal with it. Like, which might be true, but they're not consciously trying to take your energy from you most of the time, 9 times out of 10. It's not something that they're going, I am an energy vampire and I see that you are easy to take advantage of. It's more so like recognizing that sometimes people's energies don't correlate with your energy at that moment. And not using it as a blame game for being like, this person is an energy vampire and they always do this for me. Don't allow them to do that. So either change your relationship with this person or reevaluate how you can interact with this person, or maybe limit the time that you need to, be around this person, or maybe just cut them out entirely if they're not that important to you. But it's more so about, I wanted to bring that specific section up because I feel like when in the past I have thought of people or things as energy vampires, it is an excuse for me to put the blame on other people and how they have taken advantage of me, and not owning up to my own acknowledgement of allowing myself to be so open and giving with my energy, or to not have a certain shield up, or have boundaries on certain relationships or topics of people. I'm not calling you out or anything, because you're just bringing up why I wanted to do that. Definitely have energy vampires in my life. Okay, that's what I just read. They may not even know it. Right, Danielle? You're right. That's just what it feels like. But you're right. Again, they don't even know that they're doing it. Oh, yeah, most of the time people are just being them. They're in their energy. And sometimes we don't mesh or correlate well with other people's energies. Um, or we feel the need to give more of our energy to certain people. Or we might find that just certain people naturally, especially really like upbeat, positive, some spiritually enhanced type like mindset, like self-aware people. There's a lot of people who are trying really hard to make their life work, or are stuck in a mindset that they're trying to, and it's easy to attach themselves or to feel motivated and feel like they want to take on these positive people's energies. But there has to be some sort of balance, and there has to be boundaries put in place. And I think definitely recognizing certain people as a sense of a word of energy vampires, or just recognizing there might be certain relationships or people in your life. I feel like I might be kind of reiterating things unnecessarily, but I think it's really important. When you have these conflict relationships, or when you have these people in your life where you think, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted when they're gone, instead of thinking about how they're bad and wrong, think about how you allowed yourself to get to a point to where they left and you're exhausted. How and why can you prevent that? And how and why did that happen in the first place? Because it's not healthy for you. I'm sure that they're leaving going, wow, I feel great. This is amazing. And you're like, oh, I feel like shit. um, Gray Night Sky said, at times I get a gigantic kick of happy golden energy, and I want other people to have some of it too. Some actually get that energy being around me, but would that be them picking up on it, or a vamp? I think if you are consciously aware of being in a energetics, this is just my humble opinion. If you're sitting back going, I have this really wonderful power, excess energy of happiness and golden light, and I would love to send it to other people. There's a difference of consciously, having this energy and being like, I would love for people to feel this. I want to put my positive energy. So long as you're giving yourself the ability to recharge and rest and relax, and giving out positive energy and feeling like you're charged up and you'd like somebody to soak up the rays of you, is different, because you're in control. You're in a mindset of, I just want everyone to feel as positive and happy as me, versus focusing on, oh my gosh, this person's so low. They're talking about some serious shit, or like, it's just struggling for me to talk about it. I feel like they're taking my energy without me allowing them to, in a good mindset. I think there's definitely like a border and a line, consciously or subconsciously, that we need to be aware of. Or that, yeah, I think there's definitely a difference of like, I'm happy, I'm vibrant, I'm trying to show up to these witchy book clubs. My intention is to send happiness and have intellectual talks, and to have, you know, connection with you guys, and I want to leave you feeling charged, and I want to leave you feeling energetic and happy and stimulated, but I also don't want to leave feeling drained, and I also want to leave feeling energetic and charged and happy with the rest of my day. And sometimes I do better at it than others. Some days I do get off the live streams and go, I don't feel like doing anything else today, because in my mindset I didn't protect myself, or I didn't come at it with the correct energy. And others I leave and I'm like, I am so charged up. Like last night, I came in. If you watch the replay of my 24-hour tarot-thon, I was so excited. I was so happy. I was having so much fun, and I humbly again say that I think that people were receptive to that and that recognized that I was in that space and that energy, and they were picking up on that. But I was in a mindset to where when I pressed stop, I didn't feel drained. I was like, yes, like I was still going and charged, which is why I couldn't fall asleep right away. I think it's just having an awareness and an intention, but also giving yourself time to relax, recharge, rest up. You can't always be going and growing and going. Wow. Hi, tarot student. How you doing? Anybody else have anything to say about energy vampires, or using, that was a good way to bring it up too, is like consciously being positive versus somebody taking your energy in a vampire sense. Let's see. Let's skip a few here. Okay. We're on page 23. I skipped a bunch, or else we'll never get through it. Let's go to prayer on 23. Just gonna read the whole section and then see what comes up, okay? I just enjoyed you talking. I normally work at this time, so I am happy I could make it today. I am so happy that you could too. That's amazing. Thank you so much for showing up. Marie says, I think it was because of all the positive energy from the tarot community. Exactly. And like you guys were charging me up too. So it wasn't just me coming out of this energy, but it definitely was like a give and take consciously of positive, of, we'll just say positive energy, uplifting energy, sun card energy. So it was like we were working together and combating and consciously going back and forth with happiness. So let's move on though. Let's go to page 23. We're gonna get into some possibly controversial things. Again, prayer. I'm gonna read this section. Prayer can be wonderful, but like anything, in the wrong hands, it can be a tool of harm, falling somewhere between curses and psychic attack, but deserving its own category. For those who pray for witches, magicians, gays, lesbians, and liberals can be doing harmful magic. Ideally, I would hope that they are praying for love and for what the highest divine good, but many pray with the hope that others will see things their way because they believe is the only true way. They pray for others to give up their sinful beliefs and actions. This is a form of psychic attack, just as unethical as any other, and you will find it not only in conservative right-wing culture, but also among certain holier-than-thou New Agers. Holy shit. Spill the tea. Sis. Don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel. Now, this is not to say that prayer, again, is not great. I, in some sense of the word, pray, definitely. And again, this is just talking about the intentions in which you do pray. Just because you're praying doesn't mean that it's a positive prayer. So thinking about it in the way that he put it, and this really brings me back to something that I've been so obsessed with and that you guys will be hearing me talk about in my July favorites whenever I get around to filming that, is a movie that I was like talking about. It's called Beautiful Creatures, and I just watched it for the first time on Netflix. I had never heard of it, and it's very cheesy. It's very like, I described the movie as Beetlejuice, Halloween Town, or Hocus Pocus mixed with Twilight. So it definitely is like cheesy, twilighty kind of like romance movie, but the way that it's written and the way that it's about, magic and witches, or they call themselves casters and stuff. And I saw this movie and I was like obsessed, right? I watched it again the next day with George. And now I'm reading the audiobook. So I know that there's more books and stuff. So this has been on my mind a lot. And there's characters and parts in which they live in a very, very small religious based town. and a lot of the characters are very like judgy and stuff with this one character. And they're always like, she's, you know, she's the devil, she's working for the devil. And when they pray about her, it's not enough. I hope she finds good. I hope that she has peace. I wish her love and light. It's banish the devil away. And I know that this isn't, please don't take this out of context or the wrong way, but it just goes to show, you know, with this is where my mind was going when I was reading this, because this is all I can think about is beautiful creatures. Yeah, Kate, my cousin Kate's here, and she's the one that was like, oh my god, you haven't seen that movie. And I watched it by myself at like 1 a.m, and I was just like, what happened? What just happened? My world, my mind blown open. Okay, you're all just saying, yeah, it's so good. Yeah, they were extreme in that movie. Obviously, they were extreme in that movie, but it really was like bringing me back to even. This is gonna be so horrible. So when I was growing up, all my friends went to a Catholic church, and I tried to convince myself that that's what I wanted to do and believed, but really it was because I wanted to play on the basketball team. Yeah, I don't care how bad that sounds or how horrible that is. I think that a lot of children can relate to that. I didn't grow up with a Catholic mindset. My dad was raised Catholic as far as like he wasn't raised Catholic, actually. I shouldn't even say that, but he came from a Catholic lineage. The Italian in my family definitely came from you know, a Catholic lineage kind of thing. And so we did kind of go once or twice to this Catholic church that was near us, but I remember learning about praying and learning about, you know, the Catholic religion and rules, I guess, or ways to live. And when I learned to be able to pray, I started using it for things like being in my basketball team that I could now play on because I went to the church and I was, you know, baptized and all these things, which is just horrible. But I would be in the middle of a game, and instead of using my prayer for like, I hope that the best outcome of this game happens and everybody feels good about it, you know, no matter what happens. I was like, please, God, please just let us win. I just really, I swear, I will eat all my vegetables later. I won't sass my mom. Just do this one thing. I'll never ask for anything ever again. Like, the power of our thoughts and our intentions and using prayer in the wrong way. And the only thing I can give you an example for myself is going back to when I was a child and praying for like things. Can anybody relate to this? No? Anybody? Cricket? No one's commenting. Cricket. Um. Anyways, ooh, Jennifer, you've never seen Beautiful Creatures. Get on that. It's on Netflix. It's amazing. It's definitely cheesy, but it's so good. So good. But I'm thinking of definitely like, and I've talked about this in a witchy book club before, but I will just kind of briefly summarize it again. And I was in a very like hard on and off again relationship to a guy, like my first love in high school. I think I started dating him when I just turned 15. And we were on and off again, very serious or very not serious or whatever. It was a very dysfunctional relationship. A lot of like drugs and certain things were involved in our relationship, and just it was just not great, you know. But when it was great, it was great. And he's a great guy now, and I think that we were just so young and in such different places. But it took me a really long time to let him go, and I talked about this before in the sense of like letting somebody go with love and light, as cheesy as that sounds. But it was a prayer that I put forth for him, and I felt like I could never get out of this negative, I'll just say negative, it's fine, negative, you know, low vibe connection to him. I couldn't let it go. And finally, I was one night, I was just like, I can't with this anymore. Like I can't hold on to these feelings of guilt and wrongness and blame and jealousy and, you know, grief. And I can't. I'm trying to live my life, you know. I just have to let it go, but let it go good. So I started praying for him. And I know that sounds, when I say it, like, I started praying for him, I prayed for him to be like, you know, like, I don't mean it like that, but honestly I did. Instead of being, I started praying for him in a sense of like, I hope and pray that he finds true love. And I hope and pray that he finds wealth and happiness and abundance in his life. I hope and pray that he has his dream job and has a wonderful, loving family. I love and pray and wish that he is healthy and that he's taking care of his body in the way that he sees fit and that the universe sees fit. Praying in a sense of that instead of like, it's very intentional with your words. And prayer can be extremely, extremely powerful for the good or for the challenging. Gray Night Sky says, I feel like a lot of people who do prayers about wanting people to see their way usually mean well, but it's harmful. Like positive intentions got bad. Something positive for one is bad for another. Yep. Yeah, I feel like that's what this whole chat has been kind of dancing around or going around these subjects. We keep coming back to like, what is negative for you might not be the same for somebody else. Hi, Sam. I'm confused. What is witchcraft? As I have met many who claim they practice it, but some deal with astrology and some just update their religions. That's a very big conversation that's kind of going a little bit off topic. If you want to DM me or email me, I'll feel free to answer that question for you, but it's kind of going a little bit too off topic here. But feel free to join. I'm not trying to say anything like negative towards you because I feel like it is a valid question that a lot of people are kind of confused on, especially when they're new to something like this. But feel free to email me or, oh, you guys, my hair feels nasty. I curled it and everything last night, and then I went to bed and I was just like, this looks fine enough. Live stream, but it feels disgusting. So email me if you want a better answer to that because it's too hard to get into right this moment. Okay, so we talked about prayer. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. T. Lee Jones. My biggest need of magical shielding, breaking free of patterns of healing. Okay, so I said something here on the side of this paragraph, but I don't know exactly what section it was on. I'm on page 24. We're at 2 hours, and I kind of want to keep going. Are you guys okay to keep going for a little longer? I have quite a few of you in here still. So let me know if you want me to wrap up or if you think I can keep going, because I'd like to go a little bit longer. Okay, cool. No one said anything, so I'm just going to keep talking. Goodbye if you want to go. We've hit our 2 hour mark, though. But on the what section is this? It says astral energies and then past life energies. So I don't know what section I read, but this is what I have on the sidelines. Again, I was in the hospital at this point, like for 3 days trying to like help somebody have a baby, and it wasn't going anywhere. So I was like so exhausted. It says, my biggest need of magical shielding is breaking free from patterns I feel bound to with family. Binge eating, fear of success, addictive personality, and fear of abandonment. Again, that's not a blame game. I think that's just me going over shadows, and like it's talking about things in which you feel like, oh, it's talking about family karma and stuff here. Sorry, it took me a while because all the other sections I like underlined in pencil and then wrote my notes on the side, and I just don't know what this is. It's like such energies, including blessings and gifts and helpful spirits. They're like, but can also take form of what are considered family curses. They're like family karma. Some are actually harmful energies passed from one family member to another at birth. Others are unresolved issues and conflicts generated by the ancestor, such as feelings of intense fear, regret, loneliness, or anger. Energy cannot be destroyed, but can simply be transformed. If one does not transform a certain unwanted energy before death, and it was the wish for the sender to curse the family as well, then the energy can be passed on to future generations. We've kind of danced around this subject a lot too, in different ways, talking about DNA and how things can be passed on through DNA, or how family curses can continue if you feel like you've been growing up in a mindset of like always hearing things like my family has a curse, my family has a curse, my family is cursed, all that kind of thing. We danced around a lot, but I think it was me talking about my biggest need for shielding currently is around the beliefs that I have carried with me or that I have kind of grown shadows with from my childhood and being environmentally stimulated on certain ways of certain topics from family members. And that's, again, not a blame game. It's just an acknowledgement that I have created a pattern or created a negative, aspect within myself that isn't my own, that is coming from another source or coming from an event that was just an event and that doesn't resonate for every single event in my life. Past life energies. Some people believe that unwanted harmful energies can attach themselves to us on a soul level. There's also that he talks about. There's this family pattern on my dad's side that is troublesome to me. It's like almost the same pattern, but not really. So there's two different things at play, and I'm not going to totally break it down a lot for you, but basically my grandma never knew her real father. So she grew up with her grandparents, and she grew up, with a single mother that was working and that she didn't really have a very strong relationship with. So my grandma has held a lot of, she's talked pretty openly about that with me and with others about, feeling like she didn't have a positive father figure role model in her life, or feeling that she didn't, she was missing out on that. And that her stepfather was, abusive to her and all of that stuff. But this parental shift through the generations and skipping generations. So my grandmother had a relationship with her grandparents, and it was a difficult situation with her dad, or with maybe her mom, or her parents. And then going down to her children, it hasn't been the easiest relationships with her and her children. And there's been conflict there and everything. And then with her grandchildren, at least for me, not all of her grandchildren, but for me specifically, her and I, you guys know, are really close. And there's been this fear or thing that I need to kind of work on to not create this or have this passed down to me, where I feel like if I ever did have a child, or if even my boyfriend's children, who I consider to be my own now, at some point something's going to happen, and they're not going to love me, or we're going to get in a fight and we're never going to talk again, or we're going to have a challenging, relationship with each other. But then if they ever have children, like, I have to get out of this pattern, this family pattern. I have to break this within myself, and I have to consciously be very aware of how I think about those things. Yeah. So that's kind of really deep and personal to bring up, but that's definitely something that I think about or have thought about, and that is definitely kind of dancing along the subject that he was bringing up there. What do you guys think? Grun says, if every living thing is predominantly water and water reacts to written words, one can assume that anything water-based will be the same, Dr. Emoto, as seen in Water Crystal Oracle. Whew, that was a lot, Grun. I'm losing you there, but I feel like there was something really magical about those words, and I'm just not, my brain is foggy. Learned behavior can be problematic. It's like toxic social dynamics. May or may not be a curse, not sure. Yeah. There's also like this within me that like my since my grandmother never knew her real father, she could have other brothers and sisters. She probably does have other brothers and sisters out there that she doesn't know or never will know, or that she could maybe one day stumble upon and figure that out. I highly doubt it at this point, but anything's possible. Because of the lack of the connection there between things. And then my father had a child that he didn't know about, that we just found out about, a handful of years back. I have a half sister, and like, I don't feel like that's gonna happen to me, because obviously I'll know if I have a child, but like, I have thought about if that pattern, or if that's a pattern, or if that's going to happen, or if that has happened before in my lineage, and if that's been genetically or energetically or, somehow passed down. I don't know. It's interesting to think about the patterns that occur within our family. Okay, I feel like I'm losing you guys and you're not commenting, but there's still a ton of you here, and I did talk about some pretty personal things. Let's move on. And maybe we can wrap up here, but let's go to chapter 2 and Did I even write anything in chapter 2? Okay, here's the last thing I want to talk about. I'm just skipping through. There's 2 other things that I want to go over, and then we will wrap up. We'll recap what our homework is. We'll talk about the next section of the reading. There's 2 more things in the section. We're in chapter 2 now. So if you guys are still with me, I love you, and I appreciate you being here. And I didn't think I was going to be able to go this long, but now that we're on it, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. I'm on page 36, under the section of paranoia. I'm going to read this section because it's not that long, but I think it's important. Just listening. That's okay. That's all right. I mean, I can see how many people are still here or not, so it's okay. I just want to make sure that I'm like, sometimes I start rambling and I'm just like, yeah. Oh, I love you back. Thanks, Holly. Paranoia on page 36. At the end of the page, it says, the flip side of denial is paranoia. While some people have a tendency to never acknowledge any harm directed towards them, others are just willing to see the spiteful enemy behind every tree. Their worldview can range from one witch casting curses to an entire coven or even a global conspiracy. I'm out of focus and I don't know what to do to get back in focus. Focus on me. Okay, there we go. I love the old saying, just because you are paranoid doesn't mean that they aren't out to get you. You must recognize that there can be harmful energy directed towards you, but pure paranoia shifts the focus to blame, rather than understanding why the situation was created and how you can both cure it and prevent it from happening again. Those in a paranoid or victim mode often banish harm from one source and attract it from another, since the root of the imbalance or the reason why they are open to such experience was never resolved. Through the forest path, there may be denial on one side of paranoia on the other. But a witch strives to live in balance, seeing reality, even the magical reality, as it is and not through the lens of unconscious or fear. And I have living with others with paranoia. For my paranoia is something that I don't think that I have ever personally, like my mom's side of the family, all well, most of the women are single, either divorcee, widows, or just never married. Yeah, that must be really difficult to kind of like carry with you as like is this going to happen to me? Or, how am I surrounded by so many women that can't hold a relationship kind of thing? Patty, going back to that. So talking about paranoia is very difficult for me because I don't think that I have ever personally experienced extreme bouts, or like I'm sure that there's been feelings or like little anxieties or little blips of like paranoia, but nothing that's like been serious or long term for within myself that I can think of. But I have somebody in my life, actually I have 2 people in my life that are dealing with or have dealt with extreme cases of paranoia. And this was very challenging for me growing up in a household in my teenage years. Knowing that somebody is there, thinking that everybody's out to get them. I lived in a household with someone who thought that the phone lines were tapped, that there was little cameras. I was told that there were cameras set up in little corners of the house, that there's these little invisible cameras that were set up so that, I have to watch my every move, or when I'm on the phone, I have to watch what I say or watch the information that I give out. It was really, really weird and difficult and hard to surround myself or to be subjected to somebody that was so paranoid about things. At one point there was like a car that, was sitting outside of the house or something, and this person was convinced that we were being watched and that we were being followed and that we were being, that I didn't ever resonate with it, but it's someone in paranoia, people having paranoia in my life has been a big thing that I have dealt with. And so I don't want to say again triggering, but it's definitely something that like I didn't think of in this sense of like energetic shielding or having like I guess how does he put it? it's just, you must recognize that there can be harmful energy directed towards you, but pure paranoia shifts the focus to blame rather than understanding why the situation was created and how you can both cure it and prevent it from happening again. It's just interesting because I have another person in my life right now that is conscious of their paranoia, whereas the other person was like in total denial of the paranoia. It's just really hard to sit on the edge of somebody and have a relationship with somebody that is an extreme version or is in extreme paranoia mode. But this time I'm dealing with someone with paranoia where they're very conscious of what they're going through. So that is a different dynamic too. And trying to help somebody while also letting them work through it themselves is such a weird experience. So what are you guys saying? Kate says paranoia can manifest in certain phobias as well. It is the worst. When we first moved to Cali, I had awful agoraphobia and was paranoid about something happening to me and P if I left the house. Oh my gosh, that's probably crippling. Yeah. Wow, yeah. So Marie said I had a friend that was I finally after 3 years had to part company because of its severity. Being empathic, she would drain me so bad I just couldn't recover sometimes. I found myself getting it too. Yeah. Again, we're going back to like energy vampires and feeling like sometimes it is difficult for us to learn how to shield ourselves. That's why I am really glad we're learning this book, because this blame on other people or feeling like, sounds like Penzcak is talking about having healthy social boundaries rather than magical energy shield. We'll have to buy the book. Yeah, and again, we're only in chapters 1 and 2, and a lot of this stuff is just him breaking down certain situations in which you could need shielding. But he's using a lot of these terms so that they are easier understandable to people. Again, I'm skipping so much of this content because we're, it's more so about topics and stuff. I definitely recommend you guys get this book if you're on the fence about it. The Earth Magic one, I think it's still really beneficial and I learned a whole lot and everything. I didn't really recommend you guys being like, you have to get this book. Green Witch that we went over, definitely get Green Witch. That book is amazing and incredible. If you were on the fence about it, definitely get Green Witch. And then The Witch's Shield. This one so far has been really insightful to me and it would be a good one to have on your shelf. But yeah, obviously the way that he is wording things is interesting, but I do believe that he's going about it and breaking it down in these first couple sections in a very logical and well thought out and well developed way. I have the Temple series and trying to finish that before buying more. Crazy bookworm here. Same. You should see my floor. It's literally stacks of books that I haven't even gotten to crack open, but like I just love books so much. But this book club does help me get through at least, a book a month on spiritual things, because I read a lot of YA fantasy fiction books. I go blow through them, whether on audiobooks or in hardcover copies, but I don't get through as much spiritual, kind of energy work, enlightenment books as quickly as I do now that we have the Witches book club. Like, it forces us to read a book a month, basically. Force sounds horrible. All right, you guys. So the last thing I want to talk about before I get into it is another part of my family that I connect with when I read this, and I don't know how to pronounce this correctly. It looks like it's on page 40, and it's Malakotio, I don't know, okay, if I'm pronouncing it, what I think would be phonetically would be Malachio, Malochio, maybe that's it, Malochio, which means evil eye. It comes from the Italian folk magic traditions. This one is within my soul and my body. This is definitely a hard thing for me to read right now. If you guys don't know, I come from an Italian background. Yeah. So, we should read more, but I will abstain from the shouldas. That's your homework, Groon, so hope that you can. Okay. The cure for Malachio is one of the most powerful forms of diagnosis and curse breaking. Even if the source of harm has not one versed in Italian magic, I learned this cure from my mother, who learned it from her family. Her mother was the curse breaker of the Italian community of her town. Traditionally, the knowledge is passed on Christmas Eve. The technique is both divination of the evil eye and a breaking of it. There are many forms of this ritual. This is the form I learned and pass it on to you. And there's this like really interesting sort of thing that you can do to break the evil eye, but he didn't actually go into a lot of like what it is or how it's used or anything. So I can't really go into that specific. I'm just going to tell you what I know and what I feel and what I've dealt with in my life with this evil eye. And it's so funny because somebody else was bringing up the evil eye. And I think I saw Bahati Life doing an Instagram post on the evil eye, but I didn't actually get to read it all or something. Let me just tell you how I resonate with the evil eye. The Italian side of my family was very superstitious. So not really my papa, but all of my papa's brothers and sisters were extremely superstitious, that I know of. There was like 11 of his family members. And they believed in luck. They believed in things like that. So like my grandpa would talk in his sleep, and they thought my grandpa was lucky. So his brothers and sisters would sit by the bed and ask him, "What's the numbers? Billy, what's the numbers? What's the numbers, Billy? Give me the numbers." And they try to get him to say numbers because they felt like, you know, they could win the lottery or they could go play the numbers if he gave him the numbers. Like that's the kind of mindset that my Italian side came from, was very superstitious, very luck based, stuff like that. But also it was like the Italian side comes from a very don't talk about it, very passive aggressive, like we don't speak of these things mindset. I remember that I was like at a funeral for one of the brothers and sisters when I was younger, and I was doing a project in school about my heritage and how we came from Sicily and all these things. And I remember being around the table not talking because that's, you know, what I did when the adults talked, especially, you know, as a young girl, when the other, you know, the older generation's speaking about things, I'm just quiet and eating my pasta. And then I remember them saying things about Naples, 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 and I was like, I thought we were from Sicily. And my great aunt backhanded me across the face, and she's like the most gentle, loving person ever. And she started screaming at my papa, like, "How dare she say that? How dare she think that? You know, the words that are coming out of her mouth, people aren't going to think that we're from Sicily or all these things." Like, it was this big thing that erupted at the table. Like, I guess none of the rest of my family remember this happening, but it was obviously very traumatic for me. I'm just explaining some of the ways in which my family dynamic has been passed down through the energy of like the Italian way that I was raised. It's a very like hush hush, don't talk, don't tell, don't say things. When you have an issue with somebody, there's a lot of passive aggression. There's a lot of like how to get what you want without having to say what you want or need. A lot of guilting people into things. And then there's this thing about the evil eye. My dad has it. My Aunt Gina uses it. Even my papa has it sometimes, or he has used it sometimes. And it's this look. It's this like. It's this actual horrible energy that's just like the worst. Looking into somebody, sending them hate, sending them energy, sending them like a shut the fuck up kind of vibe. Like this energy, this facial, this evil eye is something that I definitely grew up with. And you know, it is what it is, but it's a power thing, it's a different control thing, or it's a judgmental thing, or again, I'm really not trying to talk shit about these family members. I'm just talking what's true and what's valid for me. Like, I'm not trying to make or paint these people in bad light. I'm really not. It's not my intention. It's more so just how I perceived things growing up and how I resonate with certain things. And when I hear the evil eye is something that I grew up with. And the evil eye is something that I see in that side of my family as a tactic or a way to push energy, whether it was consciously or unconsciously, to get what they wanted or to direct this to somebody. What you would think is like a curse or, you know, putting negative energy out there. And my father used it a lot for people who would be saying things that he didn't like or saying things that he didn't connect with. And he didn't, a lot of the times he didn't even realize he was doing it, but he would start to like kind of get this like evil eye going and like this energy of like, nope, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I guess I kind of wished that this book would have went into a little bit more of what the evil eye to him means and how it's used, other than just like how to get rid of this. I don't know, or how to use it, or you know. Evil, the eye against eye, I asked the god and goddess to break this curse, so would it be? Because I feel like he's talking about it being a tool that you can use, and I can see that. Or also, all tools can be used in a negative sense, just like even what we were talking about with prayer. For me, how I have seen the evil eye being used in my life, in my, you know, people that I have grown up with, it was not in the greatest way for me. Oh my god, my neighbor's gonna start mowing the lawn, so we'll have to wrap up. But this was something that was really weird, because it was something that I was conscious of only when I started to read that section. I was like, oh my, like I totally grew up with this evil eye. Can you guys hear that or no? He's like right by my window. I love him though, he's awesome. Let me read your guys this thing. I read her post. It's dope. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back now because I was like doing something else and I saw it. I was like, oh my god, evil eye. Like, again, the continuity or the synchronicity between this. So Jess from Bahati Life had an Instagram post about evil eye. But I just had to kind of like tell you guys the sort of like superstition and the sort of like, when he was talking specifically about the evil eye and how it was like in Italian family and tradition, and even the word, the Italian word, which I probably butchered, I don't know how to say, you know, it was like, whew, it hit me in the core. Like, the evil eye is something that I grew up seeing and feeling. Like, when I was getting the evil eye, I was like, oh shit, okay, sorry, shh, I'll be quiet, you know, or it made me angry or something, and I would be like, no. All right, he's really right here, you guys. Let me read the comments and we will finish up. It may be a way people communicated with each other for centuries, regardless of cultures. The shame is a way to control those you love. Shame, guilt, because it works. I think we all have an evil eye, but one should know when to use it, as I did to stop a man from coming to beat up my friend because she crashed his car into hers. Yes! Sorry, his car. I knew what you meant. Where is your horn, girl? The evil eye stems back from before the 1st century, when the Roman Empire was pagan, before Constantine became ruler. You guys, this is something that I have not been exposed to. This evil eye on more of a level of what I grew up with and only knowing situationally. Like, this isn't something that in literature or in conversation on YouTube or Instagram posts. Like, the evil eye to me is something that I haven't been subject to in an information. So if you guys are sitting there going like, you know, how are you only now talking about this? It's something that either I had blocked out or that I just hadn't come across in my studies. He's coming back across my window. Before we leave, will you please give the name of your parents' Etsy shop again, please? Yes! Oh my gosh, I will. So hold on, I'll read the rest of the, it's Daroc Studios, D-A-R-O-C Studios with an S. That's my parents' Etsy shop. You guys have been going and purchasing their fairy doors and their gnome doors and their wands, and they're like so excited and giddy, and they're producing the most stunning magical things, you guys. So if you want to go check out they hand carve wood and create staves, walking sticks, wands, gnome doors, fairy doors, all these sort of magical things. They're amazing. So if one of my moderators could find it and kind of link it, that would be great. But Petty says the evil eye in Mexican culture is sometimes they can only be given to babies. So they make babies wear this bracelet with an evil eye and think for protection. Interesting. They couldn't practice right out, so to curse they would give the look known as give you the eyes, or to take by X's. I don't know if that's accurate, but that was my experience. Don't want to generalize it in the Mexican culture. That's okay. We're just, you know, No one's gonna make you bad and wrong for bringing it up. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you for linking it. So that is the shop to my stepdad and my mom's Etsy shop. They're just so incredible, and they don't keep a large stock of inventory. They work basically off of commission stuff just because it takes them a long time to produce things, and they sell their things. So they'll put up a fairy door or a wand and then it will sell out. So to keep an inventory up on their shop is difficult. So if you guys want to contact them, they definitely do commissions, and they just finished one for one of you guys, and I've seen it, and I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it is freaking incredible. It is so cool. It is so cool. So I grew up with it. I'm second generation Sicilian and Italian American. I hear you. So, okay. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up. I think I'm going to be looking into a little bit more of the history on the evil eye and how it's used for positive things and maybe some challenging ways that it's used. This lawnmower thing, and it's 2.5 hours. I am going to let you guys go because it's becoming hard for me to focus and there's nothing else to say. Our homework for next week is going to be to go over chapters 3 and 4. We are going to be discussing 3 and 4 next Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, per usual. So we're going to be going over chapters 3 and 4. Thank you so much. I found you on the Tarothon. Hi, Marie. Thank you so much, too. We love you, baby. Thank you, all of you guys. Before you go, if you could hit the thumbs up button, it really helps me out. And then be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. The homework for next week is going to be to do every single morning daily pages. So we're going to be writing 3 pages every morning. Create time. You have it. I know you do. Get up earlier, move things around. But we're going to be doing 3 pages, daily pages every morning. And we're also going to be looking at the way in which we use the word should and how we can kind of pull back and maybe rephrase things in a different light instead of shoulding on ourselves or others. So that is our homework. We'll check back in next week with how that went, and we will go over chapters 3 and 4. If you guys have any further questions or you'd like to contact me, you can DM me on Instagram. All my links are down below, as well as you can finish this conversation, or if you missed the live and you're watching the playback, you can definitely comment down below and we can open up a discussion on any of the topics we went over. Okay, I love you very much. Thank you for sticking with me. It was a slow start because I was lagging. I love you very much. Have a beautiful, wonderful, magical day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!